I hate when I do that, y'all. I be talking and I be going and it's muted all this time. Welcome to TD Fans Talk, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. We should be good now. Um, y'all let me know in the comment section. Make sure that we're good now that you can hear me. We should be good. I hate when I do that. I'll be starting and I'll be going and all of a sudden no sound. Oh, I forgot to unmute myself. But anyway, man, we got a good show lined up for you tonight. We're going to talk about the latest coverage on Xavien Howard being the number one coverage corner in the league. At least that's what they say. We're going to talk about it. Talk about Aaron Rodgers, Miami Dolphins possibility. We're going to break that down. We're going to get into a little bit of Mike Gesicki, paint that picture a little more of his value on this team. And also, man, I might even touch on the little rumors about Flores not wanting Tua to begin with. We're going to touch on that a little bit. I don't know if y'all read the report, but we're going to touch on that a little bit as well. But I hope everybody's doing well. Make sure you hit the like button because everyone definitely didn't get the notifications tonight. I know that it is late. What time is it? Yes, we're starting this stream, at 10:20 or whatever, but it's all good, man. We're going to enjoy ourselves. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe here to TD Fans Talk on YouTube. We go live pretty often because I know that this content is spread out on multiple platforms. So make sure that you subscribe. Somebody said dropping the link later. Maybe, because some of this stuff is a little controversial. And if people disagree with the things I have to say, I definitely may want to give them the opportunity to say their piece or debate with me or whatever they want to do. Let's have some fun tonight before I knock out and go to bed. All right. But anywho, man, like I said, we're going to talk about Xavien Howard, number one coverage corner ranking, Aaron Rodgers, Miami Dolphins possibility, Mike Gesicki, his true value, and whether or not Flores even wanted Tua to begin with. We'll talk about all those things, all right? But first thing first, we got to dive into the most recent news. Xavien Howard, number one coverage corner in the NFL. Now, let's go ahead and get a few things straight before we get started, okay? Is this ranking of number one coverage corner, first of all, do y'all think Xavien Howard is the number one coverage corner in the NFL? Yes or no in the comment section. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If it's Xavien Howard, and we ain't got to be homers, let's be honest. Do you think he's the number one corner in the cover corner in the NFL? Doesn't mean he's not the number one corner. I mean, he very well could be the number one corner, but we are talking about coverage corner. Coverage, okay? So we got a lot of yeses and we got some nos. We got some Ramses. Leave X alone. Miguel, maybe this ain't for you. All you got to do is turn it off. You got to worry about it. No, unfortunately, I don't know if he is the number one cover corner. He best one-on-one. No, Ramsey. Top 5. That's fair. Like top 3. That's fair too. No, I love X. Yes, and sometimes no. I think our comment section right now is very fair. Shout out to Aiden Tubbs with the donation. Said Jalen Ramsey, number one cover corner. Okay, so my thoughts on this. First of all, Xavien Howard is not the number one cover corner in the NFL, okay? I would actually give it to Jalen Ramsey as well. But let's dive a little deeper into this. First of all, when the article came out, I thought it was a piece of crap. And I ain't trying to rank on whoever wrote the article. I'm not even going to tell you who wrote it because I don't even remember. But it was crap because it's highlighting stuff that aren't even giving you the full picture of the of coverage, okay? So when I read the article, because it's one thing to say someone's a number one cover corner, but when I read the article, they had no statistical analysis of evidence of why he is, and the one little bit that they had does not prove coverage. The only thing that they proved in there is when people throw the deep ball to X, they a lot of times try not to. That's pretty much all it said. And you know what the main highlight of the whole article was? 10 interceptions. 10 interceptions. That's what the highlight of the entire article was about. And the article actually says in it, it's hard to find the number one corner in the cover corner in the NFL without first looking up whoever had the most interceptions. And Xavien Howard had the most interceptions, so it's pretty obvious that he's the number one cover corner in the NFL. So they're going off of interceptions. Interceptions is not the full story when it comes to coverage. And this is that narrative for people who don't know football. They think that interceptions are that's the ultimate coverage, which is just not. It's just not the ultimate form of coverage. So let me ask y'all this. Let me ask y'all this in the comment section. Okay. Let me ask y'all this in the comment section. Because someone actually tweeted me and Reason. They tweeted me and Reason. So obviously Reason has the same thoughts that I have about Byron Jones being one of the main contributors of why Xavien Howard had such a successful year. And I want to get your take on that, ladies and gentlemen. So obviously me and Reason, we're on the same page on this. We believe the reason why Xavien Howard had the type of success he did is due to Byron Jones. Do you think Byron Jones played a huge factor in Xavien Howard having the success he did this year? Yes or no in the comment section. I'm just curious. I want to know what you all think, because it ain't just about what we think, all right? 51% pass completion. Yeah, I agree, Jeremy Childs. About half of his passes were completed. Byron Jones had 60% of his passes completed, so X did do better in that area. So we got some yes. X did it in 2017. No, hell no. Yes, no, yes, absolutely, yes. It's overall scheme. Yeah, 100%. Yes. So it looks like a lot of people, and a few people say no, X did it on his own. But a lot of people are saying yes, it had a lot to do with Byron Jones. EM in the house, he said, hell yeah, I called this at the beginning of the season. You're right. So let's break it down, because first of all, I'm just gonna call it what it is. To rank Xavien Howard the number one coverage corner in the NFL, I think it's just pure blasphemy, because he's not the number one. He's not even the number one coverage corner on our team. Yes, I said it. He's not the number one coverage corner on our team. So, and I know a lot of people would disagree with that, but let's go ahead and break a few things down. Okay. And please, Jeremy Childs, do not give me Xavien Howard's quarterback QBR against 48.3. That's because of interceptions. See, I'm not, when it comes to coverage corner, you can't give me a QBR because interceptions will wipe that out. You can have a corner that covers way better with no interceptions. But since a corner can give up 75% completion and have 3 interceptions versus a corner that give up 20% completions with 0 interceptions, guess what? The interception corner is going to have a better QBR because the interceptions are huge in QBR against. So don't give me the QBR argument, okay? Please don't give me the QBR argument because the interceptions are driving that big time. But let's break this down to why I say he's not even the best cover corner on the team. X Island. That's what they say. If he does it this year, you can start calling it X Island. If you're the best corner on your team, see, this is what I'm going to break down. If you're the number one corner on your team, what does that usually do? I want y'all to start writing some things that does for the defense. So what would happen to the number one corner on the team? Are they targeted more? Yes or no in the comment section. If you're the number one corner in the league, will you be targeted more than anybody else on your team? Let me know. Does the number one cover corner in the NFL get targeted more than anybody else on their team? The answer is no. Why will a quarterback not target a number one corner? Because they're a number one quote unquote lockdown corner. You don't throw their way. And if you do throw their way, it's only because you absolutely have to. That person should have the least amount of targets out of everybody on the team, period. So tell me, why does Xavien Howard have more targets than Byron Jones? Why does Xavien Howard have more targets than Byron Jones? Please tell me. Oh, but don't worry. Let me beat you to it. All the smart Alex. Let me beat you to it. X played 16 games and Byron Jones only had 14. Then tell me why Byron Jones has less targets per game than Xavien Howard then. Tell me why Xavien Howard was targeted 6.3 times a game and Byron Jones was targeted 5.2 times a game. Tell me why quarterbacks throw the ball to Byron Jones less than they do Xavien Howard. Please tell me how a lockdown corner has more targets against than his counterpart. See, the real stats don't lie. And here we go, CB83 with this lie saying X covered the best wide receiver. That is a lie. Byron Jones covered the best wide receiver more than X. More than X. But you got to go watch the film to see that. You got to go watch the film to see that. What happened was Byron Jones covered the number one receiver more than X, and X was baiting the number 2 all day. That's the way this defense was built. Somebody said nobody taking Byron over X. Then that's your loss. That's your loss. See, everybody want to go to the stats with Xavien Howard versus Byron Jones. Let's just be honest, y'all. Like literally. Like, I want y'all to go look at Byron Jones and Xavien Howard stats this year. The Raiders game alone, take away that one crappy call with a wide receiver on the sideline pushed off and ran up the field for 60 yards. Y'all know what I'm talking about in the Raiders game. Where the wide receiver pushed off. And matter of fact, it took the quarterback 7 seconds to throw the ball. Like nobody was open. It was like forever. He run into the sideline and he just heave it up and the wide receiver pushes Byron, catches it, turn around and run 60 yards for a touchdown. That one play, that 70-yard one play is what put his stats, because without that, their stats are pretty much even outside of interceptions. Pretty much even, and playing number ones majority of the time. Majority of the time. And we understand no corner's perfect. Xavien Howard's going to get beat sometimes. Byron's going to get beat sometimes. Byron Jones was playing the number ones. You know what his yards per target were? Quarterbacks targeted Byron Jones 10.6 yards on average. Guess what Xavien Howard's was? 7.1. All the small stuff. 7.1. TD, look at the PFF on Xavien Howard was top 3 in everything, in every category. I get that. He's a great corner. And against number 2s, he's abusing them. That's what this was built to do. That's why they went and got Byron Jones and paid him more money. So that Xavien Howard could maintain a high level of play and even better. Think about it. If you got a guy like Xavien Howard, what do you think he gonna do to number 2s all day? Just murder them, abuse them. You put all that gutter work on to Byron Jones, and rightfully so. That's what you should do. It's what you should do. That's the best way to do our scheme. Because I tell you what, you put X on the number 1s all day and Byron on the number 2s, they're still gonna target X more. And his numbers aren't gonna look as good. I mean, y'all sit here acting like X is doing this against the top receivers in the league. This is just the reality. And for all y'all saying that I love picking on X, man, this ain't even to diminish X. It's for y'all to stop disrespecting Byron. See, that's y'all problem. Y'all got a wrong perspective on this. This ain't about diminishing X. It's to stop picking on Byron and disrespecting that man. See, y'all can't fathom that in your brain in a lot of situations. Y'all can't put two and two together. This ain't X hate. This is uplifting the guy who's actually beneficial to X, and that's Byron Jones. Y'all disrespect that man. Y'all disrespect that man more than anything. Oh, Byron is this, Byron is like, yeah, well, why y'all mad at Byron? Why y'all mad at Byron Jones? I promise you'll miss him if he gone. Not until he gone will y'all actually realize his value. What problem do y'all have? And why y'all hating on Byron? Because y'all say I'm hating on X. Why y'all hating on Byron? That's what this is really about. And watch this, y'all. See, this is stuff. See, let me this is what I be talking about. I'm about to embarrass somebody. Watch this. They had the nerve to put this comment in the comment section. Watch this. Byron did nothing in Dallas. Did y'all hear that? Somebody had the nerve to put in the comment section, Byron did nothing in Dallas. Watch this, y'all. Watch this. Watch this. Watch me pull this up. Oh my gosh. They had the nerve to say Byron did nothing in Dallas. Take it to mommy. Oh, it's stuck on your finger? All right, there you go. Hey, y'all are supposed to be in bed. Good night. Close the door, Carter. My bad, y'all. All right, man. Let's break this down. Because I can't believe somebody had the nerve just now to put in the comment section, Byron did nothing in Dallas. Watch this. So you mean to tell me the same Byron Jones, the 2 years before the Dolphins, had numbers that were, hold on, let me go across. Let me go across. Ooh, just beautiful. Ooh, just beautiful. Go look at Byron Jones' numbers in 2018 and 2019. We all raving that Xavien Howard had a 51.5 or whatever completion percentage. So in 2018, when Byron Jones had a 52.5 completion percentage, in 2019, when Byron Jones had a 53.1 completion percentage, you gonna sit here and tell me this man ain't do nothing? You mean in 2019, when this man in 15 games only allowed 395 yards? 395? Hold on. Let's pull up Xavien Howard. I can't believe y'all. See, y'all sitting here telling me how great X is, but when Byron put up them numbers, he ain't do nothing. The same Xavien Howard, the year before that gave up 433 yards in only 12 games. And Byron Jones in 15 games gave up 395. Get out of here with that mess, man. You talk about the same Xavien Howard in 5 games that gave up 237 yards, which means he was on pace of giving up 750 yards. In that year, Byron Jones gives up 586 in 16 games? Are you kidding me? He was phenomenal in Dallas. Why do you think we got him? Why do you think we got this man? You mean the same Byron Jones that the 2 seasons in Dallas only gave up 5 touchdowns? But the last 2 seasons for Xavien Howard before this one gave up 8, and it was only 17 games versus Byron's 30 games? X gave up 8 touchdowns in those 2 seasons and only played 17 games. Byron played 30 games and gave up 5 touchdowns. Are you kidding me? This man ain't do nothing in Dallas? Way better than Xavien Howard's production when he was in Dallas. What are you talking about? The same guy who gave up yards after the catch in 2 seasons, 260? And Xavien Howard over 300? What about this? The tackling. Xavien Howard, the last 2 seasons, not including this one, he averages 15% missed tackles. 15% of his tackles were missed. In the same, Byron Jones averaged 3% of his tackles were missed in those 2 seasons in Dallas. What are you talking about? This is a no-brainer. Get out of here. He was the only bright spot for the Cowboys defense. Antonio Gonzalez said Cowboys defense struggled without Byron Jones. Why you think they wanted Patrick Surtain Jr., but one of their division rivals came up and snatched them and they had to settle with Michael Parsons? Great settlement. That was a great settlement. Michael Parsons still going to help them. But they struggled in the secondary last year, losing Byron Jones. Like, come on. But to sit here in the comment section and say Byron did nothing in Dallas. So this year, what Xavien Howard did the last 2 years in Dallas, Byron's been better. Outside of interceptions, the only thing most of y'all care about anyway. Rock said Xavien Howard had 7 picks in 2018 and 12 games before Byron Jones got here. Yes, he did. And that's his highlight. That's what Xavien Howard was. He has always been an interception guy. And I've been on the record to say he has actually improved his coverage skills this year. That was something that I didn't see happening, and he did it. Xavien Howard got better this year. Forget the 10 interceptions. He got better covering. I'm telling you, I'm telling y'all that. I admit that. He got better covering. Turnovers are very important, TD. I agree. Don't underestimate the value of the interception. I'm not underestimating the value of the interception. What I'm trying to help people understand is, had it not been for Byron Jones, he wouldn't have had 10 interceptions because they wouldn't have needed to target him like that. They would not have needed to target him like that if it wasn't for Byron Jones. That's all I'm saying, man. Pull something up real quick. Give me a second. Let me see if I can pull this up for y'all to help y'all see what I'm talking about. He's going to get the ball thrown his way if he's guarding number 1. CB83, keep that thought, bro. I'm about to help you out with that one. You keep it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the proof first. So y'all don't just say I'm capping all the time. Don't worry, I'm looking for it right now. I'm gonna help you out with this one. All right, here we go. 2020. All right, give me a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all help me out real quick. What 3 games did Byron Jones not play? Do y'all remember what 3 games Byron Jones didn't play? Let me see if I'm just curious. I'm going to see if y'all remember what 3 games Byron Jones didn't play. Games 1, 2, and 3. He started in 1, but then it was first quarter. He was done after like 3 plays. First 3 games. Where was Xavien Howard in the first 3 games? Anybody want to help me out with that one? Where was Xavien Howard in the first 3 games? Game 1, 0 interceptions. Game 2, 0 interceptions. Game 3, 1 interception versus Jacksonville, might I add. Might I add. Might I add. Versus Jacksonville. He had 1 target in game 1. Why do you have 1 target in game 1? Because Byron Jones ain't on the field, and they looking at Noah Igbenogany and ripping him apart. They were ripping Noah Igbenogany apart for 3 weeks straight, ladies and gentlemen. So you can't sit here and tell me if Byron Jones wouldn't hurt for the whole season, X would sit here and have 10 picks because he wouldn't have even gotten the targets. Y'all got to stop that mess. You got to stop that mess. X was limping himself. Ain't that more reason to throw his way? like, do y'all hear yourself? If he out there limping, because he was getting burnt too. Y'all remember my first 3 streams? I was mad. He had like he didn't even want to cover crossing routes. And I get that. That's all fine. I gave him the excuse for that. You know what? He coming back from there. But ain't that, shouldn't he get targeted more if that's the case? Then why was he targeted less? Why was the man actually targeted less? X had a great year from a corner standpoint. I agree. I'm just trying to help y'all see the whole picture of why he also had a great year. Byron Jones deserves some credit. The 3 games Byron Jones wasn't there, they wouldn't go in the X way. Why? Because they could pick on whoever they wanted to. Opposite of him. He is a rookie, TD. Exactly. But that's the point. Without Byron Jones, that's what you're exposed to. That's what you're exposed to. And when y'all watch the film, even though most of y'all don't watch the film, but you swear you do, when you watch the film, I'm going to be honest with y'all, when Byron Jones was in the game, there were a lot of times that quarterback dropped back the pass and his first read was Byron Jones' way and couldn't throw the ball. Just didn't throw the ball, had to go through his progressions. If you watch the film, you'd actually see, and a lot of times, the first read of a quarterback was looking at Byron Jones' way and just couldn't throw the ball. Just couldn't throw the ball. Just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it, man. So you mean to tell me this man ain't getting his interceptions? He's not doing none of that stuff when Byron Jones went on the field. But then all of a sudden, as soon as Byron Jones came back, he was that dude. He was that dude. Let me put it like this. When Byron Jones came back, he had an interception in 4 straight games. When Byron Jones came back, he had an interception in 4 straight games. So again, I'm happy with what X did last year. It was phenomenal. I hope he can do it again for us this year because we're going to need it. But big ups to Byron Jones. That's the impact he has. That's what he creates. And Flores and Greer know that. That's why they gave him that money. And I guarantee y'all they know that he worth every bit of it. They see it. But it's easy for all these casual fans to just diminish this man, make him seem like nothing. Make the man seem like nothing. I had the nerve to say this man did nothing in Dallas. Oh, man. Byron's biggest issue is he don't get interceptions, man. If he just said, like, I'm still mad at that touchdown that was snatched from him. That touchdown that was snatched from him in the end zone. It makes me mad. It makes me mad that he let that happen. That was an interception. And I still think it was a pick, honestly. Because he came down out of once he tapped his feet, and then he stepped out of bounds before the guy even snatched it. It should have been dead right there, interception. But whatever, that's neither here nor there, man. Who this H2O is good? Let me pull this up, man. Yeah, give me a second. Pulling something up. All right. Doug in here, he said, fun fact, in those 4 games, Jones was targeted more than X. LOL. Wow, if that's the case, then how, if 4 straight games he was targeted more than X, then how did X end up with a higher rate of targets on the season? That means there were a lot of games where he had way more targets than Byron. Because if those 4 games, Byron was targeted more than X, that means X must have had a lot of games where he was targeted way more. Way more. Because Xavien Howard was targeted 7.1 times a game. No, 6.3 times a game. And Byron Jones was targeted 5.2 times a game. So those 4 games were probably the only 4 that he was targeted more than. In fact, I have it here. Give me a second. I ain't got to play around. I have it here. Game logs 2020. Let's see here. Give me one moment here. I don't see it. Not tackles for loss. I don't need that. I'm not paying for that. You give it to me for X, you can give it to me for Byron. Advanced logs. Y'all bear with me. What's good, CB83? I'm lost since the COVID season. You good, Donald? You're all good, man. Why is this zeroed out? All right, game. Give me a second. X picked out Tom Brady twice, Andrew Luck twice, and the Bronco QB twice. He had one other pick the whole year, and he had Rashad Jones staying over top, and he could jump the shallow routes. Well, I made that argument like 2 years ago with people. I said if he has a competent safety back there, he's going to take every chance in the world underneath. But that's why you always got to have a good safety behind him. And Eric Rowe played very well. This secondary period was at the top of their game, man. This secondary was on top of it, period. Let's see here. Wait, which game did he get hurt? This is saying game 2. I thought it was game 1. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all bear with me, man. I know my connection's just fine. Let me see. I'm on 2G. Oh, that's why. Yeah, give me a second. I don't know why my internet be switching to this 2G instead of the 5. All right. There we go. Oh, did I lose my stream? There we go. Okay. TD is speaking pure facts about Byron Jones and how he anchored this defense. It's not just Byron Jones. This defense was superb overall. Guys were where they needed to be, but Byron Jones was a huge part of this, man. He was a huge part. Also, in the games where X got an interception against the Jacksonville and see where Byron wasn't playing. I believe we know that one. I think that was actually game. Let me see here, because Byron Jones didn't play week 3 and 4, and I believe the Buffalo game is where he got hurt. So he actually played week 1. That was my mistake. So it was the Buffalo game at the beginning where he got hurt, but it was week 3 and 4 that he didn't. 5, 6, 7 was the bye. 8, 9, 10, and he played the rest of the games of the season. His target, he never was targeted double digits in a game. Xavien Howard had 3 games targeted double digits. The Rams, he was targeted 10 times. Denver game, wow, he was targeted 10 times. That's on our offense. In the Jets, he was targeted 11 times. Byron Jones had 2 games targeted 9 times, the Jets and the Rams. So the Jets and the Rams just threw the ball a lot on us because those were the 2 high games where he was targeted. But overall, Xavien Howard was targeted more than Byron Jones. Xavien Howard had 101 and Byron Jones had 73. And even though Byron played less games, when you do the math, Byron was targeted 5.2 times a game, Xavien Howard 6.3. So he had more targets. Byron Jones was locking down his side of the field. That's what people need to realize. Outside of that Las Vegas Raiders, where they robbed this man, straight up robbed him. The Raiders game, the Arizona game, and the Cincinnati game were the games that just were not great for Byron Jones. Those were the 3 games where he gave up the most. Let me see. 3 for 126, 3 for 105, and 6 for 116. Let me see. What about Xavien Howard? He didn't have a good game. X didn't have a good game against Seattle. He was targeted 7 times, gave up 6, but we knew about that. The Byron Jones wasn't playing that game. Once again, there you have it. But he did get that 1 pick on Russell. But he was but that's why he was targeted 7 times. and he gave up 6. The one he didn't give up was an interception. And truth be told, that was underthrown by Russell Wilson. That was the game that he really got bit. In the Buffalo game. He was targeted 8 times and gave up 7 for 124. Those were the 2. In the last game was the Denver game. So the Denver game, both of them got toasted in the Denver game. So the Denver game, they got toasted. Buffalo toasted X at the end of the season, and Seattle toasted X. He gave up 6 completions out of 7. So there you have it. Everything else, man, these guys were locking people down, man. Literally locking people down. X gave up a total of 719 yards. Byron 775. He gave up more, and I'm telling you, a big part of that is that Raiders game where they were robbing this man. No offensive pass interference call. Hey TD, acknowledge EM Dolphins fans $10 donation. Oh, I didn't see that. Well, thanks EM. I appreciate you, homie. I'm mad I missed it. Let's see if I see it. No, I don't see it. X gave up 4 TDs. Byron gave up 5. Yes, he did. And once again, I don't count that one on Byron, man. And all y'all know it was offensive pass interference in that Raiders game. Anybody who don't say that's offensive pass interference, y'all already know what time it is. Offensive pass and the freaking interference, man. That was some crap. That was some crap. Now, another thing that we're not talking about, and I did a video on this before, penalties. Penalties. That's another thing. If you haven't seen that video, you got to go find it. I'll probably link it to this one. The penalties is not even close. That is one area Xavien Howard just has to be better in. Holding and pass interference calls. We did a video on that. Him and Nick Needham were terrible on this team in penalties. I got to go find it, but I believe they gave up 8 each. If I'm not mistaken, they gave up 8 penalties each. Byron Jones gave up 2. And once again, we all know that infamous Raiders game where that was a crappy call on pass interference again. Crappy call on pass interference once again. Robbery. But that is definitely one area that Nick Needham and Byron Jones, Xavien Howard, they have to improve on is their penalties. You got to count that, TD, LOL. I ain't got to count that. Y'all already know. Y'all saw the same games as me. You saw Xavien Howard's pass interferences, and all of them were legit. Y'all know that. And you saw, and even if I did count it, the man had 2. Even if I do count the penalty, the man had 2. X got 3 VS plays versus B Hop. Okay. That's what you want to believe. If that's what you want to believe. But anyway, man, my whole point, once again, for all y'all who think I be hating, this ain't got nothing to do with X. X did a phenomenal job for us this year, and we want him to do that again next year. This is just so that people can stop disrespecting Byron Jones like he wouldn't nothing. I mean, we had people that actually said they need to trade Byron Jones. People need to understand how valuable he was. They need to understand how valuable he was this year. Byron Jones was very valuable on this team, helping us to actually lock down people, making it tough for quarterbacks, allowing the pass rush to get there. It was a thing of beauty. So the 1-2 punch with Xavien Howard and Byron Jones is, I personally feel like, top 3 in the NFL. I know they did their little cornerback rankings and had us number 8 or something like that, but I think those guys in combination are top 3 in the NFL when they play together. All right. But somebody put it in the comment section, so I'll move along to this one. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers situation, it just got real, He threw the first jab. Well, he didn't throw the first jab. Them getting Jordan Love was the first blow. And he says his disgruntledness with the organization never had anything to do with Jordan Love. He's just not happy with where they are and what they're doing, and he don't want to play for him anymore. And he's decided to not go to voluntary, and now we've come up to the point where he has let the team know that he will not be attending mandatory neither. And he's about to get fined $93,000, which is peanuts for him, right? Especially with that contract or whatever, who cares? But as soon as the off season starts for camp, he'll be fined, if I'm not mistaken, $50,000 per day. And reports are indicating that 10-day mandatory, when that starts, he is prepared to not show up then either and deal with the $500,000 and say it is what it is. So Aaron Rodgers is making a point. The organization came out and said that he's dividing the fan base, and that's a play. They're trying to basically, I think, in my opinion, they're going to ultimately trade Aaron Rodgers, because here's what people got to realize. No matter how connected he is with the franchise, it's a divorce that's going to happen, whether it's now, next year, the year after. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. Now, I was sitting back today and Colin Cowherd came across my screen and I was listening to him. And I'm not the biggest fan of Cowherd. He be saying some crazy stuff, but he had a good point today and it reminded me of this channel. He said, we've gotten to a point with the media and news and people in this world where You're not even allowed to talk about a story anymore. Even if you don't think it's going to happen, the fact that it's a possibility, even if it's a far-fetched one, you're not allowed to talk about it anymore. And that's an issue. Because and he was right, because when I first wrote this story and said Aaron Rodgers possibility in Miami, first of all, I had a whole bunch of people text me. I had a whole bunch of people inbox me on Instagram. What are my thoughts? Would Miami be in the running for it? Because people really do want to know. So for all those people, bro, that saying the story, he not coming to Miami, this is conversation, because you never know what an organization is thinking. You never know if the Miami Dolphins are truly considering a trade for Aaron Rodgers. You never know. It could be a legitimate possibility. And it's crazy now that people get mad at possibilities to the fact that they don't even want you to talk about them. That's sad. That's sad. So I'm never going to fold to that on this channel. Just letting y'all know that. Possibilities, information, what they do, they cause you to think. Think about the possibilities. Think it makes me smarter. It makes everybody else smarter. Why? Because it makes you think. And we're going to always be about that on this channel, all right? So when it comes to Aaron Rodgers to Miami, I personally don't think that it will happen. But I have to say it could be a possibility. It depends on what the deal would be, honestly. He's an aged, great player, MVP. He's aged, though. So the price is going to be steep, but it's still not going to kick you over the head for the simple fact of his age. Shout out to TR with the donation, said, much love, TD from Sydney, Australia. Tua, 20-0. Let's do it. Sydney in the house. That's what's up, man. It could definitely be a possibility. Why do I furthermore say that? I want y'all to really think about it, man. Imagine a trade for Aaron Rodgers where you still get to keep Tua. Would anybody be opposed to that? What if Aaron Rodgers said, I'd be willing to go to the Dolphins. I only have 2 to 3 more years left of playing, and then I'm going to retire. The kid can sit behind me and learn for 2 to 3 years. Would you be opposed to that? Because my only issue with Rodgers is I want to have a backup plan so that when he does, see, I wouldn't be opposed to having Aaron Rodgers. I know that we'd be Super Bowl contenders right away because he still has that juice left in the tank to make this offense run. And our defense being as good as it is, we're Super Bowl contenders right away. But thinking of the long term, I would want us to have a contingency plan. That's what gives me reservation of, I don't know if I will want to do that. Because some could say, well, a Rodgers deal would probably have to include Tua, but maybe it doesn't. They got Jordan Love. You don't draft a guy in the first round and just say no automatically. You got to give him a shot and let him get a chance to be the guy on the field. So I'm the type of individual, and I know a lot of people wouldn't like this. Oh, just trade Tua then. No. How long did Aaron Rodgers sit on the bench behind the person in front of him? How long, which was Brett, if I'm not mistaken. And how long did Brett sit? Ain't nothing wrong with that, right? I wouldn't mind that. I would actually like that. Because if you really think about it, it's rare where you get somebody that actually gets to play behind a Hall of Fame quarterback. Ryan Fitzpatrick ain't no Hall of Fame quarterback. Look at him, Patrick Mahomes. Did I say Patrick Mahomes? I meant Ryan Fitzpatrick ain't a Hall of Fame quarterback. Excuse me. But look what Patrick Mahomes got to play behind. That was a good, mentor. Yeah, somebody said 3 years behind Brett Favre. You see what I'm saying? I wouldn't be opposed to that. We definitely have the capital to get the deal done if we wanted to. We definitely do. But I'm going to mix subjects here because I didn't want to bring this up, and again, I'm going to get killed for this, even though it ain't even my story, but it was a story that came out by a reputable source. that got it from somewhere, and I will tell y'all the facts about it. A reputable person in the community reported this from an anonymous source. So to me, I feel like that's third-hand information, but it is coming from someone who a lot of people definitely feel have the necessary credibility close to the organization. But the reports was basically that Coach Flo never wanted Tua in the first place. He was a Herbert guy. Do y'all believe that? Let me know in the comment section whether you believe it or not. Y'all give me a second. Sorry, I'm a 3-year-old. My 3-year-old was still up and he didn't have a shirt on. I ain't want him on camera. Let me see what y'all said about that. I asked y'all if y'all believe that story. Here we go. That's right, Ronnie. I didn't make this story. No, yeah. Nope. Doug says no. Yes. Smart man, no. No. Yep. Yes. No way. Herbert is clearly the better quarterback. No. Yes, sir. Y'all said that because Herbert balled out. I ain't say none of this. Agree 1,000. The two Aneers won't agree though. I believe it. No. That's true. Why we draft him then? Well, I mean, everybody knows why. Listen, I guess everybody don't know why we drafted Tua. I don't care what nobody say. We drafted Tua because Stephen Ross and Chris Greer wanted to draft Tua. All the way back from, if I'm not mistaken, 2017, there was rumors about what Chris Greer and Stephen Ross thought about Tua before he had even done what he did. So, from my understanding, they are the reason why we drafted Tua, hands down. So all these Ronnie just saying crazy. Ross wanted Tua. Exactly. Maybe I'm not. So I can't speculate on this story because I don't know what to think. All of it is a potential possibility. But at the end of the day, this is one of those stories that was hard for me. When I first read it, most people, they would go live right away on it. I just sat on it. I didn't even come live and be like, man, there's a report out there. Flores never wanted Tua, because first of all, you'll never be able to prove it. You'll never be able to prove that Flores really didn't want Tua. And nobody, even if every beat writer knows that to be a fact, none of them would actually write an article like that. Even if they know that it was a fact, they would not write an article like that. You tell me what beat writer in their right mind would actually write an article that Flores never wanted Tua, even if they knew that to be true. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to be in a doghouse in the outside looking in when it comes to asking questions, and they're never called on and all of that. That's the type of information that is deep down in the organization. And if it did leak, and if it is true, then they know that they would have a leak and no beat writer would report that. But it is floating out here, and there are a lot of people that believe that it is true that Flores never wanted Tua to begin with. But at the same token, it wasn't his decision in that regards. And do I believe that? Deep down inside, honestly, I don't know. But if I was to guess what it was, I feel like Flores agreed on the Tua decision, but he probably gave his concerns about it, which means it's not that he didn't want him, but he probably voiced his concerns about it because they said he was really worried about the injuries, and he was worried about some of the deficiencies in his game but again, nobody will be able to verify this. I don't know. I just think that he probably said why he probably wouldn't, but he's fine if we do. Somebody said, yes, you do. You believe it. I'm not ruling it out. I'm definitely not doing that. These are the things that we really would love to know, though. We would really love to know, because some people want to go as far as saying, yeah, Flores might be trying to sabotage Tua and this and that. That's where I part ways, because even if he didn't want him, I do not believe that he would ever try to sabotage anyone because he didn't want him. He would try to make the best of the situation and hope that it works. Because, again, a lot of stuff just isn't adding up, man. A lot of stuff really doesn't make sense to me. I'm still baffled that the kid played in week 6 or 7, whenever he played, when he did. It just didn't make sense. Flores was preaching the whole time the opposite of that. I wouldn't. And now you hear Tua's trainer. Y'all see that? People want to hit me up on Twitter. CTD, you don't know what you're talking about. Even his trainer, who was working with him the whole time, said he was 60%. I said, what that got to do with Flores? What Flores told us? See, that's why stuff ain't making sense and it's not adding up. If the trainer is going to come out and sit here and say Tua was about 60%, what did Flores tell us? I am not going to put him on the field until he's 100% ready and healthy. Flores said, I wouldn't rush it. He's like a son to me. I'm not going to rush him out there. I'm not going to put him on the field till he's 100% healthy. I'm going to go with the quarterback that gives us the best chance to win, and I'm not going to risk anything for him. And all of a sudden, out the blue, he just comes in. I'm telling y'all now, man, it was the Jets game. They got a call from upstairs in the booth. Ross want to see Tua. I'm telling you, it had to be to me. Ross wants to see Tua. And they put him in, and after that game, Ross said he wants Tua to start from this point on. Flores didn't even get an opportunity to tell Fitz before it leaked. It's crazy to me, man. It just never added up. He wasn't supposed to be on the field until he was 100% healthy, but his trainer said he was 60%. So who's lying, ladies and gentlemen? Put it in the comment section. Please put it in the comment section. Who's lying? Is it the trainer or is it Flores? Put it in the comment section. I'm just trying to understand this, because that's contradicting information. Because that's another point that you got to think about. If he was healthy enough to play at the end of that Jets game, then why wasn't he healthy enough to start? If that was the case, if he was healthy enough to play in the end of that Jets game, then why wasn't he healthy enough to start? Why wasn't he healthy enough to start, ladies and gentlemen? Why didn't you just start him in the Jets game? It ain't making sense. Somebody's lying or omitting the truth. And that's why I am telling y'all, it was never a Flores decision to begin with. Tua play how many minutes in the Jets game? That's the point I'm making. Why even play him at all then? I could see if it was just to spare Fitz's arm for the next game, but no, you went ahead with him to be the guy. Tell you what happened. They put him in at the end of that game. They saw how crazy people went in the national media, and the Tua era had begun, and hey, you got to roll with it. See, what y'all don't realize is, in Stephen Ross's office, he got all these flat screen TVs that got charts on them, line graphs, and week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, making the same old usual money. And at the end of that Jets game, it just shot up. And when they announced he the starter, that money shot through the roof. They had no ceilings. They had to put a third floor on the 2-story building. The revenue and the money just start shooting up and shooting up. You can't pass that up. It is what it is. Flores figured out a way to get us W's regardless. So it was a big win for the organization to get 10 wins and still start Tua with the deficiency. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I personally don't feel like it was the best thing to play him unless he was ready to be that guy, especially coming out after what he said, didn't really know the full playbook, not well enough. He didn't know it well enough and stuff like that. It's that's even more reason why it didn't make any sense. Makes no sense. Doug says, sure, Habs, even though I did an hour and a half film breakdown of the good and bad of Tua, and you will be surprised. TD, who is like a brother to me, agrees with me more than anything. Absolutely, man. I don't know what y'all talking about right now. I don't know what Hab said, but yes, my brother from another mother. We agree. Me and Doug agree on like 80% of everything. We agree on like 80% of everything. And then another 10% of the stuff that we don't agree on is like so cosmetic. It's like, my opinion on this versus my opinion on that. And then there are like another 10% of just fundamental football things we disagree on. And to me, overall, we're kind of aligned. We're kind of aligned with like majority of the same thoughts in a lot of areas. Dwayne said the trainer is not telling the truth, and there is a hot take. Us Bills fans put the trainer up to it. Messing TD, good show. Appreciate you, Dwayne. Listen, the trainer has no reason to lie. EM said, I'll never agree with TD's foolishness ever. See, even if I'm right, EM don't want to agree. I said that me and EM was on the phone earlier today. I said Tua gonna be the GOAT one day. He said, bro, Tua's ceiling is Derek Carr. That's why I want Watson. That's what EM said to me today earlier, y'all. TD foolish talk, huh? Oh, man. Ooh, EM probably boiling, boy. He heated now. Because he did tell me he'll never repeat that live, by the way. Look at him put in the comment section talking about really. Oh, man. Anywho, man, it is what it is, man. We'll see. I don't know about that whole not wanting Tua thing. Tua is the guy. It's gonna be pretty fun, man. All right, EM69. That's what it is. All right, so let's move along. So, what else we got? I wanted to hit on Gesicki's value, but before I hit on Gesicki's value, can we talk a little bit about Julio to Tennessee? What do y'all think? Is Tennessee like legit contenders of Super Bowl contenders now? We got to play them at the end of the season. Does that change anything? Does it change anything? You know what I will tell y'all? Watch this, y'all. Oh, this is going to be a good one. Here's what I will tell you about Tennessee versus Miami. Matter of fact, I want y'all to tell me who's going to be guarding Julio and who's going to be guarding AJ Brown. Let me sip this water real quick. Please let me know in the comment section who you think they're gonna match up with who. Who you think gonna be guarding Julio and who you think gonna be guarding AJ Brown? Number one cover corner my behind. Who you think they gonna put on Julio? Who do you think see? This is what I'm talking about right here. X will be on Julio. Somebody put that. Let me tell you one person you can't bait in this league. You can't bait Julio Jones because that stride is going to stay consistent. You can't bait him and have a burst at the end. Julio's whole route is a burst. Ain't no such thing as I'm going to let him get past me by 1.5 feet. Soon as Tannehill throw the ball, I'm going to zoom up. Tannehill going to air that ball out deep and Julio going to go get it. Ain't no such thing as baiting Julio Jones or a quarterback to throw it shorter to Julio. Y'all better get it straight. Mr. Ballgame said you bait the QB. Yeah, but it's Julio Jones. What are you baiting? When he got him beat, he gonna put it out there in front because Julio is the guy who go get it. This ain't no case on no deep dig or crossing. Man, come on, man. You ain't baiting no Tannehill with Julio. That ball gonna be thrown as deep as what Julio Jones said, y'all, by the way. What Julio said. What he said he want to go to a team with a quarterback with a what? What Julio said. Please put it in the comment section. I know y'all football heads. What did Julio say? He wants to go to a team with a quarterback who has what? What Julio said. He want to go to a team with a quarterback with a big arm. And he done ended up with Tennessee. He going to see every bit of that big arm, and Julio going to go track it down. Ain't no baiting Tannehill. That's one thing you ain't going to do. But let's get back to the subject at hand. Who is going to guard Julio? Hey, ball game, since you said that, why don't you tell us, ball game, who you think they going to have on Julio and who they going to have on AJ? I'm just curious. I don't know. It could be either way. But who do y'all think? Let's start with Julio. Put it in the comment section. Who's going to be guarding Julio Jones? Oh, man. Oh, man. Put it in the comment section. Which corner do you think that they will have on Julio Jones? Please let me know. Mr. Ballgame said X will take Brown. And why is that? I agree, Ballgame. I mean, obviously, me and you, we know who's going to guard who. But why is that? Why do you think X is going to be on Brown and Byron on Julio? And it ain't a knock to either of them. Both of them finna have a tough situation. Even with Byron Jones on Julio, he going to have a long day regardless. That don't mean Byron going to lock him down. Let's get that straight now. But I am here to tell you, Byron give you the best chance and coverage on him. That's for sure. And Xavien Howard will match up a lot better with he will match up a lot better with AJ Brown. He will match up a lot better with AJ Brown. Byron Jones will be more favorable for Julio. It ain't gonna be easy for neither of them that day. They both got their hands full. Byron just a better cover cornerback than X. Hey, you said that, bro. Don't. I ain't say it. I'm reading the comment because y'all keep beating me up for believing that. I'm gonna put Holland to shut down Julio Jones. Yeah, he gonna help one of them. You ain't putting him by himself. Yeah, he definitely gonna have that over the top help. But don't sit here and fool yourself thinking that anybody on this roster one-on-one is just going to have an easy day or a shutdown day. That is not likely because they definitely going to take shots. Either they going to take shots or Derrick Henry just going to be pounding. I'm not going to lie. Tennessee has the receivers and the running back now. That offense, like the combination of players, you got to respect them big time. The addition of Julio Jones, you got to respect that big time, man. Mr. Ballgame said because you can freelance more versus Brown. True. That is true. He can definitely freelance. Now Tannehill can definitely be baited against Brown. But the problem is Brown does a lot of what Xavien Howard, his weakest area. Brown does a lot of crossing routes, man. AJ Brown has never, or the seams. AJ Brown has never really been that go route guy. He kills you in the middle of the field, and that's where Xavien Howard has actually struggled the most. Crossing routes, deep dig routes. So it is easier to freelance on Brown, but man, Tannehill's very precise in the middle of the field with that ball. Let me ask y'all a question, man. And yes, this is about Tannehill. Would y'all agree or disagree? Tannehill in the last 26 games, basically since starting in Tennessee, he's been a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. Since the day he got the starting job in Tennessee, the last 26 games, he's played 26 games with Tennessee. He's been a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. Statistically. I know y'all the flair and all this and that. Y'all ain't gonna count that. TD foolish talk. No, Chadwick, you foolish if you think that. Tannehill in the last 26 games, 111.3 QBR. Patrick Mahomes, 103. Passing yards for Tannehill, 7K. Patty Mahomes, 7,500. He got 500 more passing yards. Total touchdowns, Tannehill, 66. Patrick Mahomes, 58. Has 8 more touchdowns than this man. Tannehill, 12 interceptions. Patrick Mahomes, 11. Tannehill has 1 more interception. Completion percentage, Tannehill, 67. Patrick Mahomes, 65.5. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Numbers don't lie. Tannehill overall has been a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes statistically in the last 26 games since he's been a starter in Tennessee. That is a fact. You ain't got to like it because overall you just know that, you just feel that Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than him, and that blinds you from the whole point of the matter, the last 26 games. That's all we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. The last 26 games. We're not saying in career and all of that. And somebody said passing touchdowns. That was the passing touchdowns. It said passing touchdowns, Tannehill, 66, Patrick Mahomes, 58. 66 passing touchdowns for Tannehill versus Patrick Mahomes, 58. Completion percentage, 67% for Tannehill. Patrick Mahomes, 65.5. QBR, 111.3 for Tannehill, 103.6 for Patrick Mahomes. You ain't got to like it, but it's a fact. Antonio Gonzalez with the donation said Ryan Tannehill would be an MVP candidate with Julio. Woo! Didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that. Putting up these kind of numbers and then you add Julio Jones, his yards are definitely going to go up. Touchdown. Man, they might become that deep ball threat now. Legit. Man. How he got those stats matter. Talk to us. How did he get the stats? It can matter. It can matter all you want it to matter. How did he get it? By throwing the ball. I don't care if the system runs play action. That's in the system. We never said anything about Russell Wilson in a system that was trying to be primarily run and play action with double tight end sets, 2 receiver routes. See, y'all pick and choose who y'all want to be great, but when a guy put the numbers up, you want to hate on him. We don't say nothing about Russell Wilson putting up great numbers whenever they had Marshawn Lynch running that rock and play action with Russell Wilson. Y'all pick and choose, man. It don't matter. It don't matter. And shout out to Ball Game. He said, doesn't matter if he had a run game. He has thrown for over 7K in 26 games. Give the dude his credit. Period. They don't want to do it, though. They don't want to do that. You can't debate that. Overall, is Patrick Mahomes a better quarterback? Even to me, right now, yes. But that's only because of what he's had in a short amount of time. And to come to think of it, y'all really got to put it into perspective. Patrick Mahomes has played how many seasons in this league? How many years has Patrick Mahomes completed? How many years has he completed? 3, right? Or am I off? He's completed 3, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Acknowledge me if I'm right in the comment section. Let me know in the comment section. Somebody said 2 seasons, where you're definitely wrong. Patty played 3. He's been to the Super Bowl twice and the AFC Championship once, so it's 3. Yeah, so 3 seasons. So if you take away Patrick Mahomes' rookie year, Tannehill been better the last 2 years. Unfortunately, he was in Miami for the beginning of his entire career. And this is why what you have around you matters, ladies and gentlemen. I remember I started this channel trying to preach that to everybody. This is exactly why what you have around you matters. The man everybody call a bum has been better than Patrick Mahomes the last 2 seasons because he has something. But Patrick Mahomes comes in the league with everything he needs day one, and we automatically don him the king. That ain't fair. And I'm not taking nothing away from Patrick Mahomes, but at the same token, we automatically give a guy like that credit, and we say things like, if he was on these old Dolphin teams, he would have still put up those numbers. You don't know that? Then why is Tannehill putting up better ones now? Tannehill in Tennessee is better than Patrick Mahomes has been in the last 2 seasons in Kansas City. So why is it so hard for people to believe if Patrick Mahomes came into the league in the situation Tannehill had, it might be like that too? Mahomes could have been a struggling quarterback had he went to the wrong organization right in this league. He could have legitimately been a struggling quarterback, but y'all will never see that. You automatically give him the credit of always having things around him because all you know is seeing him play good football because he's always had good things around him. But the first time you see Tannehill with everything he needs around him, he balls out. Don't forget the unicorn line where we finally put a team around Tannehill. Y'all remember? The man went 7-3 to start. We were headed to the playoffs. And our backup had to finish it off because he got hurt. That was the only year Tannehill actually had decency around him. A competent O-line with a few weapons at least. The only time. And if I'm not mistaken, that man started out like 7-3. It kills me. Because what happens if Tannehill for the next 5 years, say he only wins 1 Super Bowl, but he makes the playoffs every year and he put up numbers like this every year for the next 5 years? The sad thing is y'all will still be talking like that. The man can give you 7 years of this and possibly get him 1 ring, and y'all will still have something to say. You would still have something to say. That's what you call hate. That's what you call hate. Haters, man. Just can't get a guy credit. But I understand why you can't give him credit. Because you're one of those people that are sold on your own truths. Instead of being right and leaving ignorance alone, you want to sit there and hold on to something that just ain't true. You were the same people who were banging on the table. He sucks. Get rid of him. He'll never amount to anything. Now, since that came out of your mouth, you can't find yourself to give him credit because you never want to admit that you were wrong. That's the problem. You never want to admit that you were wrong. Every single person who ragged on Tannehill, you are officially wrong. You officially are deemed wrong. You were wrong. It's a fact. And the difference between me and some of y'all, I said Tua has his deficiencies, and I don't know if he could be the guy. And if he turns out to be that guy, I'm going to proudly raise my hand and say, I was wrong. Let's go to it. This guy is serious. Because it's that easy. It's that easy to recognize, dang, boy, was I wrong. Move on. Now I'm going to get on the side of right. I know better now. But some of y'all can't leave that wrong side because you just never want to have it on your record that you were wrong. Somebody said they're the same people that don't give Byron Jones credit, TD. You better know it. Some of these people were mad at Byron Jones for the simple fact he made more money than X. Some of these people hate on Byron Jones only because he makes more money than X. It's sad. But I tell you this, that shows you who they value. And they value X, but they value Byron for doggone sure. For sure. The Tannehill hate was so hard. I was defending that man every game. We won. It's not it said we won. It's not because of him. We lost. It's Tannehill's fault. That's all it's ever been. If we ever won, it was never because of him. And if we lost, it was all his fault. You know what? Let me tell you the funny thing about Tannehill, though. People went 4 years ragging on this man, right? Ragging on him, just disrespecting him. And I remember when he got hurt and what we had to deal with. People, I never forget the game where Tannehill was supposed to come back. It was the first time that the fan base actually missed him. It was the first time people were like, man, think of Tannehill finna be back. What? Finally. Like, I was like, where was all of this before? It was the Chicago Bears game in Miami. You know how I remember? Because I went to that game, and across the street from the stadium where we parked, I'll never forget, we were in a little convenience store, and on the TV in the convenience store, an hour and a half before kickoff, they had breaking news. Tannehill ruled out of the game today. Will not have his return. They said he would be back that game, and everybody was ready, and everybody was like, finally, man, we need this guy. For the first time, people felt like they needed him. And then they ruled him out that game, and that's when the Brocktober started. Y'all remember Brock Osweiler, the bubble screens, the Albert Wilson, the high five into the end zone, and all that stuff. That's when that started. I was at that game when Drake fumbled on the goal line, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the one. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm mixing games. I don't know. I think that was the game though, because they fumbled too in their red zone, and we got it back. But anyway, man, that was the game right there. And then he waited like another 2 or 3 weeks because Brocktober was Brocktober. He took over like 3-4 games. And when Tannehill came back, everybody exhaled and they finally showed appreciation. But he could never escape the Gase. He could never escape Gase. Yes, it was the Jay Cutler era before that. That's why we were just tired of it. We needed Tannehill. Finally, people appreciated that man. Finally. But it is what it is, man. And then and I was one of the individuals that said it's time to trade Tannehill because we're about to go through a rebuild for the next 2 seasons. That ain't going to do nothing but make his resume even worse, and there's no need to go ahead and have him at a higher contract. There was no need to have him on the team with that contract at the time. So I said, go ahead and trade him, and sure enough, they did. The Tennessee actually paid for him to go. And Tennessee, at the end of the day, got the steal of a lifetime, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if there's ever been a better steal. Tennessee got the steal of a lifetime. And then on top of that, they were able to sign him on a multi-year deal that averages only about $27 million. So he's out here playing elite football and not killing the salary cap, literally making under 15% of the salary cap. They got the steal. Appreciate you, Anthony. TD, never think that Tannehill is trash. Honestly, he looked bad because of Adam Gase. I agree. I actually saw a kid that was growing year by year. He came into the league. I saw he had the arm, but I also saw the mistakes here and there. And it was okay because he was young, right? Just like Tua, right? But every year I saw that slight improvement. I saw him getting better and better. In year 4, when he was dropping them dimes in the back of the end zone to Kenny Stills all the time to me, I just thought that he was on the money. And it was no looking back. But Adam Gates ruined him, man. Adam Gates ruined him. And Mike Vrabel out here making this man look like an all-pro. Is what it is. Now, somebody said good times. I know, man. But the Tennessee Titans game, that's going to be interesting. What we do in our secondary, because that team now is built to pick your poison. Do you want to stop the run? Because I'm going to tell y'all now, you're not just going to simply stop the run with your base. You're guys, you're not going to stop the run in a cover 2. I just don't see it. Miami they're not going to just stop the run like that, man. Are you going to commit extra in the box and put those corners on the island? Maybe. Like, I would be interested. I'm interested to hear what you all think the game's plan should be against Tennessee. Now, their defense still has to stop our offense, but our offense is unproven. Their offense is proven, and they added Julio Jones. And Ball Game makes a great point, because that's the point that I believe. At the end of the day, we can match up with them better than they can match up with us. We'll have a little bit more freedom than they will offensively. But again, Ball Game, to a degree, that also depends on Tua taking that next step, which we all assume he will, which would make that a true statement. But that definitely has to happen. Without that next step, we're kind of screwed. So that's what it really is. That's what the season is. That's going to be the story of the season, ladies and gentlemen. Did Tua take the next step? I can't foresee any major issues on this defense. I can't foresee any major issues in the receiving core. So is Tua going to take the next step? So that's what it comes down to. But at the same token, Ball Game, they have invested a lot in addressing that secondary in their defense, in free agency and the draft. Their first round pick was a cornerback, Caleb Farley. We all familiar with Caleb Farley. If that surgery didn't hinder him, we know that's a dog on the field day one. We know that. They got another corner, they got a linebacker, and they got a defensive end in the draft. And in free agency, they loaded up on the linebacker and defensive line. That was their. You could tell clear as day that was their main focus is defense in the offseason. It's just they're unproven. They went from the 12th ranked defense to the 24th ranked defense. But if they get back to the 12th ranked defense, they're still scary. If they get back to the 12th ranked defense in combination with their offense, that combination is top 5 in the league. And if Tua takes the next step, our combination of offense and defense should be top 5 in the league. That's how I look at it. When you look at overall team, if they defense goes back to top 12, then they're top 5 in the league with the combination, their overall team. And if Tua takes his next step for Miami, then our offense and defense combined is top 5 in the league. That's what it's going to come down to. Somebody say they defense suspect, but remember this Mike Vrabel we talking about. You go from 12 to 24, he going to get it back right. So they suspect, but again, they unproven. We got to see. So it's a good thing we play them late in the season, and it's also a bad thing because they should be clicking on all cylinders by the end of the season. And we're on the road in Tennessee. And we're on the road in Tennessee. And that's a game that I've slotted to go to. So we'll see, man. That's going to be a good one. But dang, boy, him going to Tennessee, the first thing I thought about was our schedule. Like, dang, we got them this year. And we on the road. So we'll see what happens, man. Last thing I wanted to talk about tonight. I know we've talked about it recently and we've heard it on other platforms, but I want to bring it up one time because people just they like people, some people argue with me a lot and they don't know the facts. It's this Mike Gesicki thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's this Mike Gesicki thing. Because I'm in the middle of a place where I'm trying to figure out, are they going to trade him or are they going to go for the double tight end set? There are pros and cons to the Mike Gesicki situation. So first I want to talk about, if we keep Mike Gesicki, the pros to that, the good thing about keeping Mike Gesicki. So the good thing about keeping Mike Gesicki is you'll be able to run a lot of 12, 22 personnel. Y'all get my drill. You'll be able to run a lot of those sets and formations where you got double tight ends. And adding a Hunter Long, you don't know what the Dolphins are really going to do if you run those double tight end sets. Now, last year we only ran, I have the stats here, by the way. I keep those. We ran 12 personnel. 28% of the plays were 12 personnel. And that don't mean we threw out of all of them, but 28% of our plays were 12 personnel, 3% were 13 personnel, and 4% were 22 personnel. So overall, we had 35% of our plays, we had 2 or more tight ends on the field, 35%. But literally less than 3%, we ran the ball Mike Gesicki's way. Anytime we double tight end, the thing that I don't like about Mike Gesicki is that he's too much of a tail on the field. Bringing in Hunter Long minimizes that tail, but it's still a tail. Because any scout, anybody who's game planning for the opposing team, if they're smart enough to actually dive deep and realize that anytime you run a double tight end set, all they got to do is play the run opposite Gesicki side and favor the pass. Other than that, you could really say if they run, it's going to the right because Gesicki over here on the left. And if they don't run, they play action and off of that, and they might be a bootleg coming back this other way to Mike or something. You see what I mean? It's too telling. But that's why the Miami Dolphins, I'm telling y'all, listen to me when I tell you this. This is the part that's a straight up fact. I'm not speculating. The Dolphins know that. And that's why 81% of the time they put him out on the boundary, like on the outside, or they put him in the slot. So if you play on the boundary of the slot, like 80% of the time, if y'all really want to be honest, you're not a tight end, you're a wide receiver. But when you look at our receiving core, where would Mike Gesicki rank on our receiving core? Where would he rank in our receiving core? Is he a better receiver than Will Fuller? Is he a better receiver than Devontae Parker? Is he a better receiver than Waddle? Is he a better receiver than y'all see what I'm saying here? He's not third. I just named 3 guys that he wouldn't be considered a better receiver than. He's not third. He's not better than Waddle, Parker, or Fuller at the receiver position. He too slow. One-dimensional. He's just a threat to 50-50 balls, and hopefully he comes free in the secondary in a zone, and he's a good big target that you can hit. But if you ask me, he might even be fifth. I would actually argue that Albert Wilson and or Preston might. I ain't gonna give Preston the edge yet, but he right there. He might even be sixth. Gesicki is more reliable than Parker. From an injury standpoint, we're not talking about reliability because we hope everybody's healthy. So let's not talk about reliability. The goal is for everybody to be healthy. Because Gesicki could be the first guy that get hurt this year. We don't know. So take reliability out of there like that. We're talking about just talent and skill, wide receiver, because that's what he plays for this team, wide receiver. He might be, let's just stop right here and say he the fifth best wide receiver. And yeah, he's a threat in the seam routes, as ball game put. You're right. But are you finna re-up a contract and pay a guy who's the fifth best receiver, since that's the position you have him at, $10+ million a year? $9+ million a year? Are you gonna put the fifth best receiver on your roster at $9+ million a year? It ain't like he's benefiting from the inline lineups anyway, because they're not even throwing the ball to him out of the tight end set from inline. This is what people have to realize. See, this is the blinding part with Gesicki. When you label him a tight end, it's easy to say, "Oh yeah, pay the man," but they don't even have him in that position 80% of the time. That's where the fan base gets blinded, where they're just wrong. He's the best tight end we have, but he doesn't even play the position. That's where it's getting confusing for the fans, because they keep on looking at our tight end depth chart and saying, "Oh, by hands down, you got to pay Gesicki," but he's not even lining up in the position. So what's confusing people is his title, tight end. You got to stop, ladies and gentlemen. You can't look at the depth chart and say, "Who else do we have at tight end?" He's not even at tight end. That's what you got to realize. You got to compare him to the receivers, because that's what they line him up to do. You got to stop looking at the depth chart and just saying tight end. You have to compare him with the receivers, because that's what he plays. But at the true tight end position, those guys are actually way more productive because they're using them to do the job of what the tight end is supposed to do. They're using those other guys way more than Gesicki. Adam Shaheen, 34% of the plays in line. He's in line, y'all. Adam Shaheen rarely ever lines up off the line, but he's on the field 34% of the time. And let me tell you another thing that's very embarrassing for Mike Gesicki. Look how many people got hurt last year, y'all. And he ended up being one of our top receivers because we had to play him, right? You mean to tell me in a season where all of our receivers got hurt and you were still only on the field 58% of the time? Did y'all know that? He was only on the field 58% of all of our offensive snaps. With all those receivers getting hurt, and you still were only on the field 58% of the time? And we threw the ball 58% of the time. It's like literally, when you go look up the stats, it's exact. He was on the field 58% of the time, and we threw the ball 58% of the time. We ran the ball 42% of the time. And Adam Shaheen was on the field 34% of the time. And the rest of those, Durham Smith, excuse me, I got it all wrong, y'all. Durham Smith, however you pronounce it, was on the field 42% of the offensive snaps. Every time they took Gesicki off, Durham Smith came in. Gesicki was on the field for almost every throwing play. And Durham Smith came in for almost every running play in a few passes. And Adam Shaheen played 34% of the time as well. And that was really those double tight end sets. And let me tell y'all, every time we ran a 12, 13, or 22 personnel with two tight ends, it was really Adam Shaheen and Durham Smith. That's another thing y'all got to understand. Every time we ran a 12, 13, or 22, majority of the time, it was Adam Shaheen and Durham Smith on the field together. On the field together. So we got to stop looking at our tight end depth chart and saying, you definitely got to keep Gesicki because he's not even playing the position. We got to start calling it what it is. Mike Gesicki is not a tight end. He is a wide receiver. That's where they line him up. That is the position he plays on our team. So when you look at him as a receiver, he's like the fifth best receiver on this roster, talent-wise, of what he can do. And if you want to argue with that, you can't get me past 4. Okay, he the fourth best. But are you paying your fourth best receiver up to $10+ million a year? So y'all answer that for me right now, since I had to break it down in detail why I keep saying what I'm saying. Do you pay your fourth best? I'm giving him credit to say fourth best. Do you pay your fourth best receiver $10 million a year or more? Those are some great facts, TD. You can't run from them. All these emotional people that just want to look at the depth chart, he's the best tight end we have. You can't let all our talent go. He's not our best receiver. Blocking can be taught. It's been 4 years. It's been 4 years. It's been 4. Blocking can be taught. 3 years. Okay, 3, right? Going on 4. It's been 3 years. They won't even give him a snap to block anymore. They won't even allow what y'all got to realize with the numbers I just gave you. They won't even allow him to block. It's the truth. They won't even allow him to block. That's crazy to me. They have gotten to a point where they won't even allow this man to block, y'all. They have already come to the conclusion. Otherwise, they try it out sometimes. They won't even allow him to block. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. And I've always loved Gesicki, so please don't start with the TD hating Gesicki now. I'm just talking the facts, man. This is what it is. If you want to get better, you got to recognize this and make a good decision for the team. And since he has value right now, this might be the time where you start considering making a move. And at the very least, this is his last season. Let's see what we can do. See if he can. But here's the problem. I know a lot of y'all saying, this is 4th season. He either going to do it or not. But now there's less chance of him blocking because they brought in Hunter Long. They really don't need him to block now. Hunter Long is coming in day one a better blocker than him. Day one as a rookie, Hunter Long is a better blocker now. Period. Day one. So it's not even a case of maybe he'll get it right this year. they don't need him to. They don't even. So that's what I'm saying. Miami, list the man as a wide receiver. Go ahead and make Gesicki a certified wide receiver and let his numbers for this year stand alone. Let him stand alone, because you know what's going to happen if you actually admit that he's a wide receiver this year and put him in that position and stop lining him up on the line. You're going to basically, his numbers are going to go down because we already got wide receivers all on this team. He's not going to have as much playing time. What y'all got to understand is, for him to get only 58% of the offensive snaps, I am telling y'all now, he is not going to have a place on this team. This man lined up 80% of the time on the outside or the slot. You think they finna give him Waddle reps or Parker reps or Fuller's reps now? And and the only reason he got that many reps previous years is because Preston Williams got hurt. Y'all might look up and Mike Gesicki goes from 58% of the snaps to literally 40. 40. Real talk. Mike Gesicki might have 40% of the offensive snaps this year. 40. If that. So since he's a decent name in the league, and there's a lot of coaches I've heard out of their mouth, they got that kid Mike Gesicki who's real talented. I see a lot of people who rave over him because they see the big playability. They see him catching them one-handers, and he doing it against them. So in their mind, that kid's the truth. Miami, if they were smart, they would use that leverage right now and allow these teams to be blinded. And get you a trade asset or something for it. Or maybe they want to let him walk and then use him as a double tight end set or insurance this year, which is a good weapon. And then next year, let him walk and get the compensatory pick. Maybe that's what they rather do instead of trading him this year. You can still use him on a low salary this year, and you're going to get a compensatory pick anyway. Because honestly, what do you think you'll get for Gesicki in a trade? What is it? What do you think Gesicki can get us in the trade right now? Let me know in the comment section. What would a team give up for Gesicki? And let me give y'all some blueprint on that. I want y'all to think about what we got for Jarvis Landry. I want you to think about what we got for Jay Ajayi when we did. Y'all remember that? We barely got anything for them. So all y'all who think we can get a second or a third for Mike Gesicki, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Like literally, what did we get for Jarvis Landry? Was it like a fifth or something like that? Fourth or fifth? Y'all let me know. I forgot. Y'all really think you can get a second for Gesicki? You think you can get a second rounder for Gesicki, a guy who ain't never put up 1,000 yards? Really? Because remember, not only do they have to give us the draft pick, but they got to get ready to give him a big deal. Whoever trade for him has to be ready to give him the bank. They got to be ready to give him the bank. And good point. Even though Julio's older, Julio was a second rounder in a swap of 4 and 6. I think right now you can get a fourth for Gesicki. You can get a fourth. But would you rather let him go in free agency and get a compensatory pick of a third, maybe? Y'all see what I'm saying? Would you rather let him go in free agency and get a compensatory pick instead? and you get to use him this year at the cheap price and then just let him go? Because you ain't going to be able to trade him at the end of the season because he ain't under contract with you. So you either trade him this offseason or you let him play for you and you get the compensatory by letting him walk. Some around the league consider him a top 5 tight end. That's why we gotta. I feel like you might gotta move. You might gotta make the move now. You might gotta go get your cash now for him. But could you do better in the compensatory and get to use him this year for the cheap price? See, that's what you got to talk about. You get him on a cheap price. See, all y'all who saying, nah, I'm keeping Gesicki. Watch this year. Y'all the same people next year. I promise you, mark my words. Y'all are the same people next year that are going to be saying, man, I think we could do without Gesicki. I think we're good. He's still a good talent, but we're good without him. Because he's still going to make plays here and there, but you're going to see how spread out it is. It's not even like a big deal. You're going to have to make a decision. Do you want to pay a guy $10+ million a year? I would rather give that money to Will Fuller on a long-term deal. Somebody say you wanted to trade X last year. I absolutely did. His value ain't going to go up from here. He can have 10 picks again. His value will never be higher than it is now. Last year, it was peaking. His value will never be higher. I don't care if he have 10 picks this year again. His value will never be higher than it is right now. I'd still consider trading X. I want him on the team this year because I want to see what this defense does with upgraded Tua. And overall, I want all of them. But you ain't going to never get a higher value than you're going to get right now. Period. Yet he led the league in interceptions, and we scored off of none of them. Ain't his fault. Ain't his fault. But we scored off of none of them. Brutal. Stuff that aggravates me deep down. It just aggravates me bad. I really can't stand that. So imagine if we actually capitalized a little bit last year off of the turnovers. Boy, oh boy. We have at least 2 more W's. There is no point to trade X unless for salary cap reasons. I agree. At the end of the day, if you ride out past this year with X, you might as well let the man retire a Dolphin because it ain't like you're going to get the necessary value long term. You're not going to get the necessary value long term. You know, we just kind of hold our breath hoping that we definitely don't see no injuries or anything like that. That's what we definitely don't want. Let me see something. I had something sent to me earlier. Let me see. See if I still have it so I can share it with y'all. Maybe not. I don't remember where I seen it at, but I thought I saved it, but I obviously didn't. You keep and you resign your best players. I agree. You keep and resign your best players. You keep and resign them. That's what y'all said about Laramie Tunsil too. And look what he's been able to give us. Look at what he's been able to give us. But I'm just wondering, you know, if they're gonna go ahead and give X his money, they need to hurry up and give it to him. Let X earn his spot in the Ring of Honor. Yeah, I think he's about 2 seasons of being legit like this, 2 more seasons where he can start being considered. No, you know what? How far is X from a potential Hall of Fame nod? I think he's still far away. I think he's still far away. Like he probably at a minimum has to have like 3 more elite top level seasons. Because what hurt him probably so far is his injuries. His injuries has hurt him because he's been doing some really historic stuff, but he's about 3 seasons of having top level play like that. Like it got to be the exact same. Otherwise, he has to have like 5 seasons of really good. Last year was top notch. Give me 3 more years like that, you might find yourself in the Hall of Fame. But or you could just be really good, really, really great for 5 more years. But does he have that in him? Does he have 5 more years in him? Without injury, by the way. He's about 12 spots behind Marion Humphrey and Marcus Peters. The Raven bums. Engraving, man. I can't wait for that sweet revenge, man. I can't wait. You can still pay X because the Dolphins aren't paying their quarterback max money yet. Well, they're already paying X, Mike. He's already under contract. And if you really think about it, like y'all people who say you need to pay your best player, so hey, let me understand this. So that means you're going to pay Baker, which if you ask me, that's going to be an average of about $8 million a year. You're going to pay Ogba. Ogba is going to be worth somewhere like, I don't know what Ogba is going to be worth. I want to guess around $13 million a year, but defensive ends are getting paid, man. But I'm going to say 13. Say we got it friendly. So we're up to $21 million. Then you got to pay Gesicki his $12 million a year, probably 13, but I'm just going to say 12. Now you're up to $33 million. Now you want to pay Will Fuller $15 million a year. Since you see y'all keep on talking about we got to keep all our best players, Will Fuller going to prove he's worth more than 15, but let's be generous and say it's 15. That's $48 million right there. Who else? Who else we got that needs to get paid soon? We got rid of Bobby, so ain't got to worry about that. I don't know what we're going to do about Eric Rowe. $48 million, and then what you want to do? Increase Xavien Howard's salary by $5 million? Is that what we want to do? $5 more million a year? Is that what it is? You see how that money goes real fast, and you think we got just that much? We ain't got as much as people think. Right? Let me think here. 1 year, 2 years. All these people would be getting fresh deals. And you know what you'd be setting yourself up for? That's the crazy part. Say Tua balls out with these guys, right? Here's what you would be setting yourself up for. All of these guys will be under contract getting their money until all the way up until it's Tua's turn to get his money. The problem is the same way with Baltimore, Buffalo, and all of these teams that they deal with, Seattle, all of these teams, is once you give your quarterback his money, when he goes from making $8 million a year to, at that time, 3 years from now, an elite quarterback, let's just say Tua is going to be elite, the number is definitely going to be 50 at a minimum. 3 years from now, the number is definitely going to be 50 at a minimum. I think we all can agree on that, especially if we're winning. So you're basically increasing your quarterback salary by the amount that you're paying all those guys. So now you got to sit there and say, all right, now I got to cut all of them. Now I got to cut all of them. And now for the next 3 years, you have to hope that we hit on everybody in the draft. And it's just not realistic. We never hit on everybody in the draft. No team ever hits on everyone in the draft. And I could just talk about the first 3 rounds. We ain't got to talk about everybody else. Let's talk about the first 3 rounds. Nobody ever hits on everybody. Almost every team every year got 1 failure in the first 3 rounds that they pick. Most of them have 2 failures. Hell, to be honest, some teams have 3 failures. That's what you run into. And that's what Baltimore is going to run into. That's what Buffalo's dealing with now, trying to figure out that contract. Patrick Mahomes, who already hasn't even received a penny of that big money yet. I mean, he got his signing bonus, but hasn't received a single fiscal year of the big money yet. Already talking about restructuring to help the team. Already ain't even received a salary check yet from his new deal. Of course, he got his signing bonus. They give you that up front, but ain't received a regular paycheck yet from the new deal. Already talk about restructuring. Russell Wilson, team screwed. They good enough to get in the first round and get out, because you'll never be able to have enough talent around once those guys get that kind of money. 10 years ago, guys was making 10 to 15% of the salary cap. Now these guys are trying to come up on 20 to 25%. You're hurting the team. Mr. Spacely said anyone who takes less money is stupid. I agree. Especially if you don't have faith in yourself. Because with your theory, Tom Brady is stupid. The greatest of all time is stupid. But people have to realize Brady can make more money off the field than on the field because of the dynasties that he's built. Everybody want to mention, yeah, but his wife has all that money. Brady can make more money off the field if he wants than on the field because of the dynasties that he's built. That's the real wisdom. Take a pay cut to win every year, and you're going to have a dynasty. You're more valuable off the field than you are on the field. Branding wise. But I get it, because I wouldn't bet on myself. I don't care if I was the greatest thing in sliced bread. I'm taking my $50 million a year. So I get it. I get it. I've never knocked the player, but I do knock the organization. But that's why I feel like an organization needs to be responsible of having a perfect blend. And what I mean by that is you don't need the best quarterback in the league. Get you a guy who's a 7 or 8 who can get the job done, but you don't rely on them to win the game. You rely on putting together a great defense and some weapons around them. Get you a guy that ain't going to need $50 million a year, but maybe 30 in today's NFL. Ain't it crazy how Brady made only 30 million, actually like 28 million last year or something like that? Or 25. He had a 2-year, $50 million deal. My bad. Even though they restructured it after the Super Bowl. But he had a 2-year, $50 million deal, if I'm not mistaken. And people wonder why they are so loaded. Them pennies matter. Imagine if he made $50 million a year. Take $25 million off of that roster. Trust me, you taking some key players away. You taking some really good talent away. Somebody said 25 is a lot. Compared to 50? Compared to 50 million a year, it's a lot? See, that's what I always ask people that question. Take $25 million off of the books right now and tell me who has to go. And when you're done taking that $25 million away, tell me, does that team look the same? That's the point. You can go through their whole roster and look at their salaries. You take $25 million away, and I'm very curious where they'd be. Let me see something. Give me a second. I'm gonna hook y'all up real quick. Watch this. See, this is where it get interesting. Mike Evans, $12 million. Take him away. Chris Godwin, $16 million. Take him away. How would the Bucs look if you took those two guys away? How would they look if they took Mike Evans and Chris Godwin off of that team? What y'all think? They still have weapons, but would they be the same? Would they be the same? You can build a competitive team with your QB eating up over 30% of your salary cap. The entire process is stupid because QBs need the most help on the field. Oh, he said you can't. Exactly. But like I said, how would they look if Mike Evans and Chris Godwin wasn't there? But no, they ain't going to sacrifice those two guys, right? So now what you want to get rid of Jason Pierre-Paul for 12 and a half? Your all-pro guard, Ali Marpet, for $10 million? Is that what you want to do? And then you'd have to add another player on top of that. Shaq Barrett for $1.2 million. I don't know. You got to add one more player to make it happen. No, you're not going to do that. You don't want to do that because you're hurting. Tom Brady's base salary is $1 million, signing bonus $8 million, roster bonus $1 million. Do you know what? Oh my God! You see Tom Brady, boy, that man there ain't right. Tom Brady, that boy ain't right. Do you know what Tom Brady's cap hit? Do you know what Tom Brady's cap hit is going to be this year? I knew it. Remember, he restructured it twice this offseason because he wanted them to bring all his guys back. Do you know that Tom Brady's cap hit is only $10.5 million this year? Oh my gosh. This man restructured it once and then he restructured it again. Tom Brady, oh my gosh. $10 million cap hit this year. $10.5 million cap hit. And I could see why. Next year, he'd have a $17 million cap hit. And then he has 3 years after that where he's under contract with the Bucs, where they just have to eat $24 million in dead cap. They have to cut him a check for $24 million if they move on. Otherwise, they don't have anything listed. He has zero salary for 23, 24, and 25. They're giving him his signing bonus all of those years. They gave him $8 million a year in signing bonus. Tom Brady got a $40 million signing bonus. So his contract was, he still has the $50 million contract, but it's for 5 years. Tom Brady's contract is 5 years, $50 million pretty much. 5 years, $50 million. And he's getting a base salary only in the first 2 years, which means they already paid him all his money. See, this is what teams do, and this is what Jerry Jones did. People feel like, well, just manipulate the salary like that. But you're kicking the bucket down the road for a moment that you're going to hurt anyway. That's what they're doing. In 2023, they have $8 million that's going to count against the salary cap. No. Excuse me. Y'all forgive me on that. In 2023, they're going to have a cap hit of $24 million. And that's without paying Tom Brady. So if they keep him in 2023, they still got to give him the money they got to give him. In 2023, they have a cap hit for Tom Brady of $24 million, and he's not getting paid anything. So if they actually keep him in 2023, they actually have to give him his real deal, his real money, whatever he agrees to. So what they're basically doing is saying, we want to win Super Bowls now. We know that we're going to suck in the future, but we're going to get it while it's hot. We're going to have so much dead cap on the books in the future, like literally. So if the salary cap is $200 million, they're going to be 175 automatically. That's how that works, y'all. When you do these voidable years, that's what they do. Because you can void him, but you can't void the money. So if everybody got $200 million of a salary cap, they're going to have 176 because they're going to have to eat that $24 million in 2023. They're kicking the can down the road, but Tom Brady's not hurting because they paid him a check of $50 million pretty much. They paid him all his money. They just spread it out over 5 years. So it's smart for the current, y'all. This is the smartest thing you can do for the current while you want to win, but it always comes back and catches up with you. They won't start suffering until 2023, 2024, and 2025 when they're paying big money on the salary cap without the player anymore. And if they still have the player, they got to give them a new deal and more money, and they'll probably kick the can even more. But at some point, they got to sit down as an organization and say, we're going to suck. Let's just eat it. Let's just suck for a few years and get this money past us and rebuild during that time. So look for Tampa Bay to legitimately, once Tom Brady era is over, they're going to go. They're basically telling you they will go in a full rebuild where they know that they're going to suck for a few years. That's what they're basically telling you, because they will not have the money to bring in the necessary talent to have a great roster in the future. So that's what they're doing. So you can manipulate the cap, but it sets you up for a bad situation in the future. But a lot of people are going to do this. They're probably going to do something like this with Patrick Mahomes to try to make more room. They're going to keep on kicking the bucket. Lamar Jackson, just to stay relevant, but at some point it got to come to a halt and they got to stop winning. So what would y'all do? Would you want Miami to do this for a window to try to win, or do you want the long-term success without limitations? Because the Patriots never had to do this. They never had to do this because Tom Brady never made the big bucks like that in the first place. But now teams are doing this to keep up, to stay relevant, kicking the can down the road, and that can keep getting larger and larger until they can't handle it anymore. Engraven said, I'd say go all in and try to win a Super Bowl. I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't be opposed to that. But the biggest risk that you have is not winning the Super Bowl. Because if you go all in and you do that and you don't win the Super Bowl, you are in trouble. And let me tell you on top of that, the reason why it'll be even more harder now, Engraven, is because it's easy to do this when you're the only team that's doing it. Tampa Bay last year, they were the only team doing this outside of the Cowboys, but they were doing stuff like this with their O-line. But Tampa Bay, they were the only team doing this where they're able to still, and this year, they'll still be the only team doing it. This year, they'll still be the only team doing it. Well, hold on. Let me look at Patrick Mahomes' contract. Let me see if they did that off rip. I'll let you know. Shout out GG said Watson on Dolphins equals Super Bowl. Time will tell, man. All right, so Patty Mahomes 2021 base salary. Yep, they had to. Yes, they did it with Patrick Mahomes too. Yeah. Oh, he already restructured. Wow. I see it. Patrick Mahomes actually restructured. Patrick Mahomes was supposed to get like an average of about 46 million a year or something like that. And this year they've been able to reduce his cap down to 7 million. But what they did is they kicked $4.4 million every year for the next 5 years. They kick 4 million every year. So 4, 8, 12, 16. So they took 20 million and kicked it down the road and spread it out over the next 5 years. So Patrick Mahomes' cap hit this year is only 7.4 million. Teams are doing this now. Let me tell you where it starts to hurt them. See, Patrick Mahomes, they did the 10-year deal, but here's where it hurts. Like in 2027, he's $60 million of the cap. But it's going to be higher because as they keep kicking the can down the road, those numbers are going to grow. Later and later, they're going to grow. So if they restructure his deal to where his cap hit is only 7 million this year, next year they may have to do the same thing because he increases up to 36 million next year. Then he goes to 46, 44, and 46, but they'll probably keep kicking the can down the road. They'll keep on restructuring. That's probably what they're going to end up doing. Continue to restructure so that 4 million a year increase is going to end up being 8, and it's going to end up being 16 million a year on top of what he's getting paid. That's what y'all got to realize. Those numbers end up being on top of what he gets paid. But here's the beautiful thing for Kansas City. This is where they kind of won, right? You have to go you got to go look at Patrick Mahomes' contract. Patrick Mahomes did not get a $450 million contract for 10 years. Patrick Mahomes actually got a $141 million contract. I personally feel like Patrick Mahomes' deal is trash. Why? You get a 10-year, $450 million deal, $450 million deal. But you only got $141 million in guarantees. You basically only got 3 years worth of guarantees. You only got 3 years of guaranteed money. 30% guaranteed. Byron Jones' contract got 60% guaranteed. Patrick Mahomes' agent at a minimum should have got 50% of that contract guaranteed. You want to know why it's only 3 years guaranteed? Because they already know. They're going to wipe that contract out in 2023. And what they're going to try to do is give him a whole nother deal and keep kicking the can down the road until it's too large to kick and they got to sit down and eat it at some point. They got to eat it at some point. So we'll see. Man, this is crazy, though. This man has the potential in some years to have a cap hit over $70 million. I can't imagine them doing that. 70 million, they'll give him a whole nother signing bonus of 50 million, and they'll take dead cap for an extra 10 every year, plus his salary. Keep kicking that can. It's dangerous, y'all. Rikaru said this dude don't know what he's talking about. Well, why don't you educate us? Tell me where I'm wrong. I know this salary cap 10 times better than you. You know why? Because you just said I don't know what I'm talking about, and I definitely know what I'm talking about in regards to the salary cap and the dead cap. Definitely know what I'm talking about. But this is interesting, man. We'll see what they end up doing. But everybody's kicking that can down the road, and eventually it catches up to them. Eventually it catches up to him. Somebody said our owner is a billionaire. We straight. It has nothing to do with the owner. The owner just writes the check and he's able to give you your signing bonus up front. All of them can do that, right? That's not the issue. So let me help y'all understand what we're talking about here. So say we sign Tua on a 5-year, just hypothetically, right? Say we sign Tua on a 5-year, $100 million contract. I'm going to use whole numbers so that y'all will understand how this works. Say the salary cap is $100 million for your whole team. You got $100 million to spend on your whole team. And say we give Tua a 5-year, $100 million. That means Tua is 20% of the salary cap, and he's basically $20 million a year. Now, what'll happen is a team may say, man, we got a chance to win a Super Bowl, but that $20 million a year cap this year is going to hurt us from doing that. We need more talent. So what they'll do is they'll restructure Tua's deal. They'll take this year's $20 million cap hit, and they'll say, we're going to convert that salary into signing bonus. So we're going to give you a check of $20 million, and we're going to give you a $0 base salary. But now, since it's a $20 million signing bonus, you got your $20 million for the year like you always were going to get. But now we're going to divide the $20 million over the next 4 years, and we're going to put 5, 5, 5, and 5. So next year, when Tua's supposed to make $20 million, he's going to make 20 the next year, but he's going to have a cap hit of 25 because they pushed that money down. For the next 4 years, they added 5 on every year just to get relief in that first year. So now he still gets his $20 million in year 2, but he has a $25 million cap hit. And what does the team do again? Man, we let's just give you a $5 million in base salary and spread the other 20 out in another 5, 5, 5, 5. But now, once again, when you get in year 3, he gets his normal 20, but now you got an additional $10 million in dead cap the next year. And they keep kicking it down the road, but that number grows and grows and grows. And eventually they got to stop because it's getting too high. It's getting too high. So at the end of the day, they're going to have to make that decision on, Miami's going to be faced with that too if the quarterback ends up being a great. Now, if Tua ends up being average, above average, slightly above average, but not elite, I got to be honest with y'all, that's actually the best scenario. I know that sounds crazy, but if he's above average, but not the elite echelon, that's actually, from a salary standpoint, the best scenario because now you can get him on a Tannehill deal of 20-something million or 30 at that time because the cap will go up and you can still afford a lot of things around him. But ain't that crazy, y'all, that Patrick Mahomes is like a $7 million cap hit this year and Tom Brady is a $10 million cap hit? Patrick Mahomes is less of a cap hit than Tua is right now. Let that sizzle in your spirit. Patrick Mahomes' cap hit. He already got paid now. Trust me, he got 50-something million from this year. But his cap hit against their cap, 7-point-something million. Less than what Tua's counting against us right now. Tua's about 8 million, if I'm not mistaken. It's crazy, man. But they doing what they got to do in this small window to win now. And I can't knock the Chiefs for that because they got everything they need now. They got about 3 more years to go at it. Follow the money. That's how it works. And you wonder why haven't y'all thought about it? When the Bucks season was over, everybody said out of their mouth, well, we know they can't keep everybody, so who's going to be the oddballs out? Every week, one of them guys re-signed. Every week. And then they talked about Tom Brady's restructure. And every week, they brought that whole team back. And you start to wonder, how were they able to do it? All of those guys were worth more money. And guess what? They all got more money. Because Tom Brady is a $10 million cap hit. Tom Brady is a $10 million cap hit. And the Super Bowl team brought everybody back, chemistry, everything. They should be better than they were last year. They should be better than they were last year with guys who make even more money, so they're even more happier. That's insane. That's insane. But it is what it is, man. We just got to make sure we're making the smart decisions with our books. The benefit for the Chiefs and the Bucks, they're in a window where they can do it now because they've proven they can do it. And Brady is a guy that's proven he can do it. So if I were the Bucks, I would have did the same thing, kick the can and get me my Super Bowls now. If I'm the Chiefs, we proven we can do it with this roster. Let's keep going after Super Bowls because the Chiefs realize we can't do it anymore. We can't afford everybody. But if we kick the can down the road, we can keep this same team together and afford everybody. So what they're in essence doing, to sum it all up, y'all, they're going after it all now in the next few years with the realization that 3, 4, or 5 years from now, they're going to sit their behind down as an organization and accept their losing fate as they rebuild. That's what it is, y'all. Unless they just like the best drafters ever. If they draft and they just get these gems for cheap, if they are able to do that, that's the only way that they can come out of this still unscathed. But they got to be like literally first 3 rounds, they got to hit at a very high percent. For the next 3 years, the first 3 rounds, they got to get 2 out of 3 to hit every time. They got to get 2 out of 3 to hit every time. Stephen A. Smith said another clickbait title. Oh, did you just come in, Stephen? We've been live 2.5 hours. We actually covered the titles and it wasn't clickbait. It was X was named the #1 cover corner, and we talked about that. And the Aaron Rodgers situation, Miami Dolphins possibility. Everybody on Twitter and Instagram, they were asking me what my thoughts were. Is it possible here? So I addressed it. I just why does that feel like clickbait to you? I don't get it. A lot of people say clickbait. It's news. It's a conversation. It's what we do. 2 hours ago. That's right, Miguel. We talked about all that 2 hours ago. Now we're talking about some other stuff. This man just should get Matt Ryan. I don't think they'll trade Matt Ryan, but next year they may. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. This whole Julio Jones move, the Falcons right now are kicking themselves because they should have went the route of a quarterback instead of Kyle Pitts. See, what happened is they brought Pitts in and thought that would help that offense be even more explosive. And maybe last year was an anomaly and they could turn the corner and get it done this year. But you lost Julio Jones and replaced him with Kyle Pitts. Therefore, your team didn't get better. Now you got a weapon of the future for long term, but your team didn't get better. They did not get better. Julio Jones is way better than Kyle Pitts, but Kyle Pitts has a ceiling opportunity to be really great. But Julio Jones, ladies and gentlemen, therefore they did not get better. And good point, Justice. Why would we want Matt Ryan? He's talented, don't get me wrong. But I've always been an individual. Y'all can kill me for this all you want. I feel like Tannehill's better than Matt Ryan. It's just Matt Ryan has always been in a better situation. Matter of fact, they're very comparable to me. They're very comparable to me. You saying Tua is better than Matt Ryan? Well, let me put it like this. Matt Ryan is up there in his years. That's number one. Number two, Matt Ryan, it's not a big enough of a change for me to where I'm not going to give Tua a shot to be Matt Ryan or better. I'll put it like that. Now we talk about Aaron Rodgers. The only reason I would bring Aaron Rodgers is if we could actually keep Tua as well to sit behind him for a few. And Deshaun Watson, I will bring in because he's young and playing at an elite level. And it makes sense. So, no, I'm not saying Tua is better than Matt Ryan, but it doesn't add up for me to want to go get Matt Ryan over Tua. I'd rather take my chances in Tua developing and being that guy. That would be my preference. What's up, Sam Dog? I've been great, man. I've been great. Appreciate you coming through, man. I know it's real late. What it's like almost 1 o'clock. Wow. We've really been going for a while. Rodgers will go to Denver if he goes anywhere. Yeah, maybe. Is that going to make Denver contenders right now? They're going to be good, but I don't know about contenders. TD, if you could, would you rather have Watson or Tannehill on the Dolphins? Watson, definitely. Watson can do everything Tannehill can do with his arm, but he's way more explosive from a mobile standpoint. I go Watson all day. If this young O-line takes a big leap, this offense will be nasty. I agree. TD, you bring valid fiscal sense for argument. Say the Fins win the Super Bowl this year. Do you think they have the maturity to do what's necessary, or do we have a player the magnitude of a Brady? Let me understand that. For argument, say the Fins win the Super Bowl this year, okay? Do you think they have the maturity to do what's necessary? What's that, Donald? Or do we have a player that the magnitude of a Brady? It depends. I don't know what you mean by the maturity to do what's necessary. What would that be? What would the necessary thing be? And then I'll be able to answer it. They haven't fixed the O-line in the past 10 years, but it's headed in the right direction, 420. How you feel about the receiver you guys drafted from Alabama, Waddle? GOAT. Rookie GOAT of the year. That's what it's going to be. Fins can get Russell Wilson if they want. I wouldn't argue that. I think they could. If Tua doesn't work out, the Dolphins will take another swing in a 2023 draft, probably the Clemson freshman quarterback. Listen, Richard, if Tua don't work out and it's evident this year, the Dolphins will bring in a veteran quarterback and throw the house at them. Whatever team that they own, they're going to give up every asset they got. They're going to give up them 3 first-rounders for the next 3 years. For the next 2 years we got 3 first-rounders. They're going to give up next year's the 2 fourths we got, the 2 fifths we got, and the 2 sixths we got. They're going to give up everything. Because the team that you built right now is ready to win right now with the right quarterback. You think they're going to go in the draft in 2022 and get another rookie, and Xavien Howard has gotten a year older? Manuel Ogbah, all of these guys are starting to come up on the 29 and 30 with the whole new rookie quarterback. You might as well say we about to reverse this thing and rebuild again. Because all these guys that you got, there's 27, 26, 27, and 28, and bringing in a whole nother rookie? No. They will go get their quarterback and give somebody everything. Easy. They're not going in no draft. They giving away whatever they got to give away to get a veteran quarterback that's great, like Watson, like Aaron Rodgers, like Russell Wilson, whoever is having a problem that they can snatch and they can put up the capital, they going to get them. So our best bet is Tua balling out, period. Because we'd have to give up the house. And I'm telling you, next year we'd give it up. Because at that point, we would have tried everything. We've tried everything. And at this point, you got to just, hey, we got our window to win now. We got this window now. This whole rebuild was about building around a young franchise quarterback. If Tua fails, Greer is gone. I don't know if he's gone because, again, what if Ross was the one that wanted Tua? That's on Ross. But Ross will double back and say, all right, spend whatever it takes, do whatever you got to do. Go get me Russell Wilson. Go get me Deshaun Watson. Go get me whatever. Next year, it wouldn't even be a blink. It won't even be a blink. We better not struggle like that next year. We just better not, man. We better not. Man, where is that thing I saw, man? Somebody sent me something earlier and they were like, man, this was our main problem last year. They sent me all these different game photos that basically showed how many games late in the season where like the first 6 possessions were either like a punt or turnover down. You know, it was like punt. The first 6 possessions of almost every game, we were punting the ball. And I was just like, man, if you really looked at it, that was bad. And at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we have to stop doing. We got to stop punting the ball in the beginning of the game so often. Stephen A. Smith says, I know football. Okay, cool. Go to sleep. You talking crazy. Why you still up, Brandon? Where you at? You on the East Coast or the West Coast, Brandon? You on the East Coast or the West Coast? And y'all got to stop with this crazy talk. Y'all the ones talking crazy. Talk about go to sleep. You talking crazy. Some of y'all can't even tell somebody what they're saying crazy. Y'all just be making these general statements. Go to sleep. You talking crazy. Then help people understand what they're saying crazy. Otherwise, you look like just a pure troll. That's all you are, a troll. Do the Dolphins have both the front office to maintain a competitive team and the player to be the Tom Brady for this team to keep that competitive advantage? Does this clarify earlier question? Yes, it does. Front office, I believe we do have the front office to maintain a competitive team. Now, the player like Tom Brady, we don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out this year. TD, you're the best. Thanks for the late night Fins Talk. No problem, man. I joke, but not disrespect. I just want us to win. I don't care who the player is. That's what I'm talking about. Exactly, man. It don't even matter. Can we just get the W's? TD, what's going on with Melvin Ingram? You know what? I'm not sure. I just think that I think that I'm starting to, me and EM had this conversation and it's starting to make sense to me. Maybe they were just doing the whole Melvin Ingram thing to keep Emmanuel Ogbah at bay. Show him, man, stop tripping, because if there is a contract dispute, which there have been reported that there may be, if there is, that whole Melvin Ingram thing might be basically signaling to him, hey, we'll move on from you. Stop tripping. But I don't know. Man. We'll see as time goes. I don't know. Somebody said it might just be a smokescreen to get Ogbah contract negotiations more favorable for the Dolphins. So I don't know. I don't think that's going to work, because when them PFF ratings and stuff came out saying he was the number 1 in the league in the 5 technique defensive end, which is true. He is the best 5 tech in the league based off of the position. It's going to be hard, man. He's going to make some money. So Dolphins, they probably already heard what he want, and they probably just sitting there scratching their head trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure it out because this roster is loaded. Y'all got to realize we got a lot of people making some little decent money and due to make some really good money. So it's just a matter of what they're going to do. TD, have you talked about the Tua best game was Arizona? Godsey was the play caller. Gus, because Gailey was sick. Let me wipe that out, because people keep saying that, Joe Jones. First of all, the Arizona game wasn't the best game. Let's get that straight now. I think it was that Patriots game, but I'm not knocking people for thinking Arizona was the best game. But y'all got to stop with this thinking that it was Godsey. That Gailey wasn't calling the plays, and that's why. First of all, what made the difference in that game wasn't play calling. It was Tua's improvisation on bad play calls. Think about all the stuff he did when the play broke down. He made plays after it broke down. That's not, people keep giving the offensive coordinator credit for the Arizona game. Look at what he did with his feet and improvising and escaping pressure and making plays happen. Tua deserves all the credit for that, not the play caller. There was a lot of stuff that looked like it wasn't going to work, but he made it work with his feet. People are using that line to justify once again that it was Gailey. Look at the Arizona game. Gailey wasn't coaching that one and Tua was free. No, he exploded by using his feet, and he's very shifty, and he showed that in that game, and I was impressed. I was impressed in Tua, not the OC. That's like people like you're taking credit away from Tua when you do that too. I'm telling y'all now, it was not because Gailey wasn't calling plays. Most of them plays weren't no good anyway. It was simple. Tua made things happen that looked like they were bottled up. That man got off in that game. That man had like 3 or 4 big runs on third downs with his feet. Like impossible things. You're like, oh, like he was making us survive. It was the same plays being called, and he took a few more risks in that game. The seam route to Gesicki up the middle. In most games, he wouldn't even throw that. Those plays were being called with Gailey in other games. A lot of games, he never even threw that ball. And I get it, because even when Gesicki caught it, it was in tight coverage. Somebody says, so consistency in the offensive coordinator doesn't matter? Of course it matters. Of course consistency in the offensive coordinator doesn't matter. Did I lead you to believe otherwise just now? Unless you're talking to somebody else. And they wonder why the offense struggle. They change OCs every year, shaking my head. Well, listen, that's one of my biggest concerns. They talk about this as a new playbook and stuff, but it's more friendly to what Tua is used to at Alabama and stuff. That's what I'm hearing. I hope so, because a whole new playbook with other nuances. I hope he retains this one. I really do. Anyway, man, I'm finna get up out of here, man. We after 1 o'clock right now, man. Y'all hit that like button on your way out. I appreciate y'all coming through. Thank y'all for tuning in to TD Fans Talk, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. It is 1 a.m. here on the East Coast. Y'all have yourselves a good night. Hopefully I'll see y'all tomorrow. I know I'm gonna be a guest on my wife's podcast. I don't know if it's tomorrow or Wednesday, but I'll let y'all know if y'all want to hang out and talk about some real stuff. But anywho, love y'all, love y'all, love y'all. If y'all want to subscribe to the podcast or anything like that, go to my homepage and you'll actually see the podcast on there. So if you want to ever hang out with me and the wife when we're talking live, ask questions, have conversation, we all down for it. All right. TD, love your channel. Keep doing your thing. Appreciate you, man. Good night, everyone. I will see y'all later. Peace. I am out. So here. Man, why is this thing frozen? There it is. All right, y'all.